Welcome to Music Outlook LA, the podcast which highlights the independent artist, whether they are a musician, vocalist, actor, actress, live audio or in-studio engineer, or a videographer, photographer. I'm your host, Will Kimsey. Each episode, we'll look at the gigs of the independent artists, from the venues we play to how we set up and break down, the gear we use and why we use it, and the info we hope you'll find useful as we all make our way in the entertainment industry. Music Outlook LA is brought to you by Kim Z Entertainment LLC. Go to kim-zentertainment.com to find out what they're doing for the independent artist. Kim Z Entertainment LLC. Independent entertainment done independently. My guest today is 15-year-old singer-songwriter Kaja Amalie, and I hope I didn't butcher that, who wrote her first song at age 12. Currently, she has 5 singles that I were able to count on Spotify and other streaming sites, and we'll make sure that we mention those today, as well as discuss how she got her start in music, any shows or gigs that she's got coming up, what gear she might use, like the guitars and such, and most importantly, see what information and advice she has for other young indie artists that are starting out there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kaja Amalie. How are you? How are you? How are you?
Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, great. I'm thankful that you are participating. So let's just jump right into it. I'm sure you get asked this a lot. How old were you when you got started with your music?
Well, I would say probably around 7. That's when I started. I was actually in my first show at 7 and I had my first solo song. But then I really got interested in playing instruments and singing at around 10. That's when I first started playing ukulele, and then I moved over to guitar after that. And then it kind of just took off from there.
So you started with the ukulele, then you went to the guitar? So when did the singing come in?
It's always there because I have a very musical family. Like my mom loves singing, so I started singing from a really young age. And so I would say probably around, even when there's a video of me when I'm 5 singing the songs from Annie in the car. So I guess I've kind of been singing since I could talk, or even before I could talk.
I get it. I kind of grew up the same way. Been playing piano pretty much all my life, and I definitely understand that. Bands and orchestras, growing up and everything else. All right, that's very good. I'm cool with it. So who are your musical influences? Is your mother one of them? Do you have any others?
My mom is definitely a very big musical influence. She's a very good singer too, so I kind of I would say I got some of my talent from her. I don't really know if I have that much other musical influences. Both my grandpas are musicians, but I haven't really heard any of them play, but I guess music is kind of just in my blood. But yeah, my mom's definitely my biggest musical influence.
All right, good. You just kind of answered the next question. So in your family, there's your mom, both your grandparents. Who else in your family is a musician? Because you did mention that you kind of come from a musical family.
I have some great uncles. I have a great uncle who's in Vegas and he plays a lot of music, so he's a musician. And also my grandma on my mom's side. She's a good singer and she used to be a teacher I think in a choir in church. Like she used to teach my mom choir songs in church.
Okay, cool. So let's get right to something that I read about you online on your website. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be posting that information later on in the show notes, so be sure to check that out. It says that you wrote your first song when you were 12. And I think I said there were 5, but you said you have 6 songs on Spotify.
Mhm.
So, what was the first one of those six songs that you did?
Wrote is Never Thought, which if you listen to it now, it's very different from the original version. At first, it
Hmm.
had no structure. It was just like verse, verse, all the way to the end. That song actually didn't make it into the EP because I was like, this is terrible. But then at the last moment, we fixed it up. So now
Hmm.
it's probably like one of my favorite songs. But yeah, that's the first song I wrote.
Okay, so I guess with you just mentioned that it was just all verses. So you're getting a better handle on structure of a song going from a verse to a chorus and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Um, so I guess when you're writing a song, it's not something I gave you the question of, but I think you'll be able to answer it. So when you're writing a song, do you think of your melody first? Do you think of what chords you want to play? How do you go about writing a song?
Well, we start with chords actually because I feel like the chords are a really important part of the song, and it kind of like brings the words to me almost. So I'll start with the
Hmm.
chords and I'll play like probably like four chords over and over again until I know some words, just so I already have music for the song basically the moment I write it, which is nice. And yeah, then from there I'll just start building on that.
Cool, cool. So do you have a favorite key you like to sing in?
I think I like to sing in the key of G and C. Mostly that's what most of my songs are in. Um, yeah, I haven't really tried other keys that much. I think those are just keys that go the best with my voice too.
Hmm. I think as you progress further along in your music, and again, it is great to see the young people getting started in music. I can tell you that here in the U.S., we're kind of lacking in our music education. And I'm sorry, my Siri decided it wanted to start talking. Um, our education of music is lacking, and it needs a lot of help. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. So, again, I am so grateful to know that there are still young people like yourself out there still wanting to
Mhm.
be a part of the arts. Um, so I guess my point is that as you get further along in music, there will be a demand in many cases for you to stretch out beyond the key of C and the key of G. So
Yeah.
just let you know, get ready for that because they'll hit you with E flat once in a while,
Mhm.
especially if you go and you end up being in a show or a band or something, and whomever wants you to cover a song that's already out there. You're going to have to find the key and maybe change it or whatever. So, yeah, let's talk about what you contacted me about. You're working on a platform and you put it in your own words for young artists to collaborate, give, and receive feedback and to create amazing communities. Why don't you tell us about it? How's that going, and where are you going to put this platform online at? Have you found a place, or where are you with this right now?
So, yeah, this business I'm making is called Music It, which is essentially, as you said, a platform for kids to, well, young musicians to receive feedback and just like improve their musical skills.
Mm-hmm.
And this basically the reason why I made it is because when I released my songs, I realized that there wasn't a place for young musicians just to reach out to other young musicians to be like, hey, I need help with this, or can I have feedback on this? And I feel like community is a very good way to help reach your goals. So I am going to be making, or I am currently making a platform for kids to, or young musicians to collaborate and stuff like that. And currently, I have a Discord server where young musicians can talk to each other. I'm still looking for more young musicians to join, but I would like it to be like an online Discord server where young musicians can just talk about anything they want that you just can't always find where you live. And I also want to make a music course for young musicians to learn how to write their songs, record their songs, and produce it. all at home because even though I went to a music studio to record my songs, I know that not everyone wants to or can afford to go to a music studio and record their songs. So I want to be able to show kids how to record their songs at home, have it on Spotify, and just, learn more about what they can do with music.
I like that. I like that. I really like that. I have nothing to add on top of that. Just I like the fact that you're doing that. We could use more of that out there for young people and us old gray-haired
Yeah.
people like myself here. We could use some of that as well. So I saw you mentioned that you're using a Discord server. Um, are you thinking about getting a blog going as well?
I was thinking of writing a newsletter, but I was also thinking that that is something that I can do inside the Discord server if I have like an announcement channel or something just to keep everything in one place. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a blog also was something I was thinking about doing.
All right. Very good. Very good. So you've got an unusual name, and you said it's what nationality again?
It's a name. So it's
Norwegian.
Kaja. Yeah. But the Y is pronounced as a J, so it's just Kaya. But yeah, because I'm half Norwegian, so I have a Norwegian name.
All right. That sounds good. And I kind of can guess what the other half is, right? All right. So you were born in London. You lived here in the U.S., and this is
Yeah.
all according to your website, as well as in Bali and Indonesia. And
Yeah.
now,
Indonesia. That's Bali is in Indonesia.
okay, that I should have figured that one out. And now you are, according to your site, you're in Mexico. So
Hmm.
playing at all of these venues in different parts of the world, uh, what was it like for you? And what kinds of venues were you performing at? Just music festivals and talent shows, or?
Well, I would say in London, I only lived there for 2 years, so I didn't really
Mhm.
do, I couldn't do anything there. But in America, I did some acting when I was younger, like 7.
Mhm.
And in Bali, I performed at two kids' music festivals, which had like, I think roughly maybe like 2,000 people there. So it was like a big
Wow.
music festival all about kid performers. And
Mhm.
I performed there twice. I got invited back a third time, but we had already left Bali by then. So yeah, I performed in places like that. Here in Mexico, we've only been here for a little under a year, but I'm
Mhm.
soon gonna do a performance at like my local, it's like a bar, but we're gonna do it before the bar becomes a
A
bar,
bar.
just to use it as a performance space.
Right. Right. Um, that's great. That's great. So, what kind of feedback do you get from? Excuse me. What kind of feedback have you gotten from playing at the various places that you've performed at?
Well, I'm feedback from, I just think that when I sing in public, I need to use the microphone a little bit better because sometimes I see that when people perform, they lean back and forwards to control the sound. And my mom has told me this many times too, that I can't just be up against the microphone when I'm doing a high note because then it just like breaks. I also need to be less nervous because I can't go too fast because my songs are not sped up songs, they're slow. So I think like the feedback I've gotten from people is that I need to work on how I use the microphone more and then just be less nervous on stage.
Okay. Well, that'll come in time. You'll be all right. I got faith in you. So I think you're going to be all right. Let's go right on to you got another single coming out. I believe it's called In My Dreams. Is that correct?
Actually, that's out already. I might have put somewhere that it's coming out, but that song is currently out on Spotify.
Okay. What you got some new songs that are going to be coming out? that we can be able to check out on your
Yeah.
Spotify?
Yeah, I have currently three songs that are not on Spotify that I would like to put out. I want to write and release an album. Um, but this time, instead of recording it in a studio, I want to try doing it from my bedroom because I think that's kind of a cool thing to say, like, hey, I recorded this song in my bedroom almost. Yeah. So this year, I want to release at least a single, maybe two. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Um, you think you'll be going in the studio to record that, or like you just said, you're going to do it at home?
Yeah. And I think that, I mean, there's a slight possibility that I might go to a studio, but I want to at least try to um like record a song at home.
Okay. Um, so what kind of recording equipment are you going to use? With all the DAWs that they have out, the digital audio workstations. I use Logic because I'm an Apple guy. What
Mhm.
DAW do you think you're going to be using, or are you using currently?
Well, I haven't tried that many, but I unfortunately don't have an Apple, so I would like to use Logic, but that is not a possibility. I've heard of FL Studio and looked into that a little bit. It looks like a pretty simple studio.
Mm,
And I don't have that much recording equipment. I have a microphone. And I also have I'm not sure what the name of it is. Actually, I see it right there. It's a MPD 218. It's like a small beat board that I got from my cousin where
okay.
I can record beats on there. So I probably need a little bit more equipment and a little bit more knowledge on how to use recording studios, but that's what the course I'm going to make is going to be all about. Obviously, I won't be the one talking about the studios, or I had to learn about it first before I record the course.
Okay. Well, you can do like everybody else does, and I still do. We have what we like to tease and call YouTube University. You know, just
Mhm.
look it up and you'll be okay. They'll tell you how to do it and how to get it done. Well, nowadays all you need is a good microphone, you've got your guitar, and you've got your beat machine. So, you're off to a good start. Once you get a hold of a good laptop with a good DAW in it, you'll be able to do things with it. Uh, if you're looking for a free program, one is called Audacity. You might want to check that out. Um, and then when you do get that Apple, let me know. I'm pretty decent with Logic. I might be able to talk you through a couple of things if you need a little help with that. Um, all of this is great. I am so glad that you have chosen Music Outlook LA to come on to talk about your work and your music. And I'd like to ask you, what advice would you like to pass on to other young musicians um, that are trying to make their start or that are just getting started? What would you say to them?
That you're not going to get everything instantly overnight. Like sometimes I try to write a song and it just takes a really long time. So you definitely need patience. And you also need to you need to learn to reach out to others because if you sit in your room all day trying to write a song and you don't ask for feedback from anyone, you're not going to get anywhere once you get stuck. You're just going to keep on going in a loop over and over again. So I would say the two most important things are asking and properly receiving feedback instead not just taking it personally and being patient. And yeah, just keeping up practicing.
That sounds good. That is good advice. So, for all you young people, I would also camp onto that. Don't give up. And you're going to
Mhm.
have to do one thing you probably will not like doing, but it's important. I
Yeah.
had to deal with it myself. Practice, practice, practice. That's one thing you're going to have to do. Um, Kaya, I've got one last thing to ask you. Um, so, when you're not writing music or performing, what kind of music do you like to listen to?
I listen to I listen to a mix of rock music, like I like punk rock a lot, like Green Day, and I like Nirvana a little bit. Just like I don't listen to band, I just listen to single songs. And I also like pop music. There's this really good singer named Conan Gray who has really, I don't really know how to like kind of raw music. It's not too
Mm-hmm.
much techno beats. It's mostly just guitar and piano. And then Olivia Rodrigo, she's pretty famous. So yeah. And
All
I like music with like a lot of guitar, mostly acoustic stuff.
right. So, what kind of guitar do you have? What do you play?
I'm a Squire. My goodness, what's the other name? I knew. Oh, a Squire. I cannot think of the other name. It's a kind of guitar. A Squire Stratocaster. That's what I have.
All right. All right.
And
Good.
then a
Good.
Yamaha acoustic 3/4 junior. It's like a tiny acoustic guitar.
Okay. Um, Great. I'm wishing you luck on further success in your musical career as you learn and grow. And I hope to see you out there someday performing, maybe on somebody's TV show or something. And I did listen to your work. I like it. I like it a lot. It's not heavy, and I like it. I like it a lot. So I want to thank you very much for being a participant on Music Outlook LA, Kaya. And again, I wish you the best of luck in all that you try to get done.
Okay. Thanks so much for having me on the show too. It was great.
All right, great. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Music Outlook LA, gigs, gear, and info. And thanks again to my guest, Kaja Amalie. And I bet you I butchered that last name again. But be sure to check out the show notes for her website information. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the show at both Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com, and also on YouTube. The links will be below. And Music Outlook LA can be heard on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, Spotify, Castbox, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and you can find us on Listen Notes, which is the podcast search engine. And take the time to rate the show at podchaser.com. I'm Will Kimsey, aka WK Music. Peace. This podcast is both brought to you and produced by Kimsey Entertainment LLC. Music Outlook LA is a copyrighted broadcast of Kimsey Entertainment LLC. The views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those of Will Kimsey or Kimsey Entertainment LLC. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or any other use of this product without the express written consent of Kimsey Entertainment LLC is strictly prohibited.